In early spring 2020, as we were all locking down and facing the threat of a deadly virus I'm sure no one needs reminding the name of, a long-struggling British fashion and furniture retailer filed for administration. The disappearance of Laura Ashley from the high street may appear to be just another casualty of the current economic situation. However, in this video we'll explore how Laura Ashley was born from another economic crisis and how it influenced many of us around the world to embrace our inner Edwardian country lady.
For the 1.5 million unemployed in Britain, the pinch is even more severe. And for many Britons, it means a real cut in living standards.
Britain in the early 1970s was suffering. The 1973 oil crisis led to a 3-day week.
Nearly every factory and power station in the country needs either coal or oil to keep its production going.
Coal miner strikes and heavy inflation created industrial and social unrest. Power cuts became commonplace and unemployment was on the rise. Britain needed an escape to remember a time before these troubles and hark back to simpler days. Britain needed Laura Ashley. In the early 1950s, Laura was working as a secretary and raising a young family. One day she visited the Victoria and Albert Museum in London and became inspired by an exhibit of Victorian quilting from the Women's Institute. Having learnt quilting from her grandmother, Laura thought it would be nice to recreate this style of material and set about designing for herself.
We decided that we'd try printing them on the kitchen table. I got a book from the library and I said, "Oh, you have to make a silk screen to do this." And he said, "Oh, you'll never do that. I'll have to do that for you."
Her husband, Bernard Ashley, made his own printing machine on their kitchen table to assist his wife's creative endeavour. With an investment of £10, a heft sum in the early 1950s, the couple were soon producing headscarves, tea towels and napkins. These one-of-a-kind designs, the likes of which hadn't been seen for half a century, proved very popular, and the company grew steadily, moving premises to a larger location in Wales and opening its very first shop in 1961. It was during this time that Laura first tried her designs on clothing, producing pretty floral smocks and white cotton dresses. These designs were such a fresh departure from the heady designs of the 1960s, a world away from the psychedelic miniskirts of swinging London, that it wasn't long before the fashion world took note. The long dresses, with their high collars, puffy sleeves and floral patterns, appealed to a return-to-nature attitude, born of seeds sown from the hippies of the 60s. When faced with troubling times, it is so often human nature to turn to nostalgia for comfort, and Laura Ashley could not have picked a better time to send fashion back. Britain was going through an Edwardian love affair, with a slew of costume dramas like Upstairs, Downstairs and The Duchess of Duke Street dominating our TV screens, and the posthumous publication of Edith Holden's diary, The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady, in 1977 became a bestseller. And it wasn't just Britain that these frilly frocks had romanced, as Laura Ashley shops appeared in the US, Canada, Australia, France and Japan. It soon became apparent that Laura Ashley was appealing to a certain kind of woman, later dubbed the Sloane Rangers. They were the kind of upper-class females who spent their days in country clothes, shopping on London's King's Road, the kind of home county girl with rosy cheeks and mummy's pearls, the kind who would marry the Prince of Wales. In 1980, a young nursery nurse named Lady Diana Spencer was photographed wearing a light cotton Laura Ashley skirt, with the sun shining behind her, illuminating her legs. Her fame as Prince Charles's girlfriend and subsequent bride only caused demand for Laura Ashley to accelerate. Fashion, however, is fickle, and during the 80s and 90s, the company focused more and more on their interior design and furniture retail, popularising chintz and classic English country-style designs.
Any luck with the curtains?
Yes, I got them from Laura Ashley, and the carpets.
Oh, great. How do they look with the furnishings?
They match perfectly. In fact, so well, I've got a dress to go with them.
Oh, great. Where are they lying?
Certain commentators of the business world believe that Laura Ashley grew too big too quickly. The Ashley family gradually pulled away from the management of the company, and a steady stream of new management brought ups and downs, which led to its ultimate and long-winded demise. So why am I mourning the loss of Laura Ashley? Because it's 2020 and things haven't gone so well. A major economic recession looms, which could last for years. The cost of living and unemployment are both on the rise. Doesn't that sound all too familiar? Laura Ashley did not just design dresses and furniture. It started a whole style movement which has widely been copied by the likes of Cath Kidston and Emma Bridgewater. Even today, the mid-length dress, regrettably worn with trainers, seen on the street is a modern take of the Victorian designs Laura Ashley imagined. There is also a growing fan base for the original Laura Ashley dresses of the 70s, with fashion lovers paying up to £200 on eBay for this nostalgia. So thank you, Laura Ashley, for taking us back to simpler times. It's the tonic we all need. If you remember Laura Ashley designs, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Thanks for watching and see you again soon.